Welcome to Stop the Madness. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Stop the Madness. I'm your host, The Kid Plot. Of course, we got my co-host, Isaac Cotto. We are in the building and back again with another great episode. Tell them what we reacting to today.
We're talking about the topic of getting married and basically, should you protect your assets or should not? Should it be split down the middle if you're married? You know, why marriage is a good thing. It's a video with Lila Rose, I think is her name. She's a very conservative, I guess she's known for being a Catholic.
I've seen her before. I think she was on the Whatever podcast.
She was on the Whatever podcast.
Right? Yeah.
And some other gentleman, and so they're having a little discussion.
It looks like this is his podcast, though, right? Or is it hers?
I think it's hers.
Oh, it's hers. Okay.
Yes. Cool. Let's check it out.
Back to kind of like, you know, where we're at today. Let's just say someone gets married.
Yes.
They, like you said, they bought a house or they bought some property that's like an investment property. Let's say they were 21 and they're, you know, now they're 28. I don't know. It has accrued in value. They get married to a woman. She doesn't really have many assets, but they get married and then they have like 4 kids together, right? And then God forbid there's a divorce of some kind that starts to happen, like initiated by one or the other, right? She has raised those kids in the last 5 to 10 years. Like she's not been making money or, you know, investing in new rental properties or anything. She's her primary work has been the children. Maybe she's had some side hustles. He's been continuing to grow his income, and the rental property is one of his assets. And now they're separating, and she is going to need to be able to provide for those children when she has her shared custody of them or whatever. She's been out of the job market now for years, whatever. Anyways, my understanding, again, I'm not a family law attorney, so it would be interesting to have one on the show. Maybe I should. That's actually the next step. I think you should, but you know, she is entitled to some of his assets because even though she wasn't working and they didn't belong to them before they got married, because she has been providing something to the family unit that has an economic value that you can't write off as nothing.
But why should she? Why would she be entitled to the premarital assets?
All right.
Well, that would be a question.
So that is the key issue that a lot of these conversations are about: premarital asset versus marital assets, right? So I'm single. I buy a house. It's worth $100,000 when I buy the house. I get married, and look. I had to bust my ass to get the down payment for this house. I had to work 2 jobs. I got this house. I get the down payment. I got the house. It's worth $100,000 now. I get married. 5 years later, the house is worth $1 million. So I had a $900,000 increase, and I get divorced. My good old spouse, my wife, is going to get half of the $900,000 gain that I had in the property. So she would get $450 and I would have $550. She gets almost half of the value of the property I had before she even showed up. Like I had this, this is mine. So that's where I think the whole question with the prenups come in, where you protect your premarital assets. I think, you know, I'm a big believer. I have a prenup. I have no problem saying that. We have a prenup. Anything we do together, we split down the middle. Whatever happens, happens. But anything I had beforehand, she can't touch. Right? So, I mean, that's just the way it works. I'm sure there's other prenups that are even more extreme, but I'm comfortable saying, hey, today is day 0. Whatever we build together, whatever decisions we make together, whatever properties we do, whatever businesses we start, it's going to be 50-50.
Yeah, as long as you agree with it. I mean, obviously, you guys both have to agree, and if you're okay with it, then that's all that matters.
By the time I'm 40 years old, a lot of the major moves, my law firm was already up and operational. That's a protected asset. That's a premarital asset.
Yeah.
She won't, be able to touch the law firm.
Right.
So there's things in place. But, Lila is, she's a good Catholic woman and believes that,
She believes that even that they should get even the premarital assets.
That's what they play a little bit more of this video. They get into something real quick here.
Question of like how much of it she's entitled to versus not. I think
Okay,
in part
but
because they're
perhaps an even more.
in part because I would say they're growing in value. I would imagine during their marriage.
But it's his.
But when he married her and she chose to invest so much of her time and heart in raising those children, like what is his became hers too. You know. So I think that's
I think that
that's the argument, right?
That in itself is the huge problem. And as long as the law remains that way, all that's going to happen is more men or women at this stage, because women are starting to have a lot of stuff. I think young women are actually more likely to have property than men are now. Then all that's going to happen is fewer and fewer people will get married, because that's such a poor incentive.
Well, I think the biggest question is not even if they should divvy up that premarital asset they had before marriage, 2/3, half and half at all. It's the biggest question is, if and when you get married, you know, are you going into the marriage with concern about your assets and protecting them from their spouse that might go the wrong way? Or are you going into the marriage in terms of this is my one flesh, I'm going to be committed to for life, and I'm going to really select.
That's the dreamland.
Yeah. She definitely shouldn't be entitled to anything that he did before he even met you, before y'all got married, because that's just absurd. And then the fact that she says, "Oh, I'm giving all my time to your kids," they're her kids too.
She was gonna give that time anyway.
If she would have had him and got divorced,
she still would have.
If she would have had him, being a single mom, let's say she would have had babies out of wedlock, what happens? You're gonna still dedicate your time to those kids.
Yeah, there's no additional time. But
it's not
I mean,
additional, right?
Her theory is like, hey, you know, if you're really getting married, like, there's absolutely no way we're gonna get divorced, and we're one, and everything you have is mine, and everything I have, which a lot of times is not much, right? Is yours. We're gonna split that down the middle, and I think that's a fairy tale dream. You have to protect yourself.
Yeah.
What are the stats? 50% of all marriages end in divorce.
Yeah, no, it's over 50%.
I mean, it's just mathematically proven. So, I think it's
80% of the time is women.
Yeah, I mean, okay. How long you've invested in your music career?
Oh man, since 2007.
2007, and so then comes the love of your life. And she wants to get married, and you know, you're out here, you've been working for almost 20 years to get your music going.
Yeah.
And some way, somehow, she gets married, and because of all this time and effort you put in, I don't know, you hit a home run. Now you're on tour, you're this, that.
Yeah. Like, nah, it's gonna be tough.
She can't get half of that. Like, I don't see that.
It's not gonna happen. Not, and that's the reason why I say I don't want the government involved at all, because of the simple fact that what you just said. Now, I know you said, well, that's why you get a prenup. Cool. But a lot of women are not in agreement even with that. They're not. They're like, why? Like, you know what I'm saying? They put up a fight towards that. So either way, you're not going to please everybody. There's going to be, that's why I think, I don't mind having a wife that has a level of independence. I don't mind that. I'm not the type of dude like a lot of these other big, you know, popular podcasts where they're like, I want my woman to just stay at home all day, cook and clean, and don't do nothing, take care of the kids, and just be a stay-at-home wife. Like, I'm not that type of dude. I actually like my wife to have a level of independence. She can have a part-time job. She can have a job. She can have her own business. I don't have an issue with that. But she needs to know who's the leader. She needs to know who's the man of the house. She can, if she wants to work and earn her own money because she likes to make money, I don't have a problem with that, as long as you're taking care of everything at the crib too. So maybe you need to just have a part-time job. You know what I'm saying? You don't need to have a full-time. Maybe you can have a part-time job. So I'm the type, if she wants to do it, I don't have an issue with her doing it. And that's the reason why I say, if we get married, the government doesn't need to be involved. You're not going to have any incentive or any motivation to want to divorce me 10, 15, 20 years later, because you got your own stuff anyway. Like, you have your own money. You're not with me because you need financial benefit.
I mean, let's be realistic. Like,
what?
A little part-time job, like, you know, say, you know, you end up having 4 kids or whatever. Like, I
don't have any kids. So.
Well, I'm saying you get married, you got 4 kids. Like, what security she has, and you're 12, shit don't work out, you're gonna kick her to the curb. What is she supposed to do with her little part-time job?
So can I say this?
What's supposed to happen?
Okay, so let me say this. So my mom raised 4 of us single.
Mm-hmm.
She was raising us, and she had a job, a full-time job.
Okay.
So she was able.
She was doing that from day one?
She did it from the point when I was 3. So my oldest brother at the time was 15.
Okay, why she started working?
Well, because she had no choice.
Okay.
Well, she had no choice. I was 2 years
was
old.
it
My
tough
sister
for her?
was 9.
Was it hard for her?
Well, of course. But what I'm saying to you is that it's not an impossible task.
No. I mean,
Like my mom had 4 kids.
She can work and get an apartment and put your kids in a little one bedroom apartment, and she could survive. I don't think that's the question.
But what I'm saying is, when you say it's how is she going to be working? Let's say working a full-time job and also raise the kids. There's single moms that do that all the time.
Yeah, but that's not in an ideal family environment. Like we clearly, you know, the ideal family environment would be where, if not financially feasible and possible, mom is with the children, not
And
leaving the kids at the babysitter.
But see, you're talking about an ideal situation, but there's a lot of times to avoid what women complain about, which is, what if you decide to kick me to the curb? What am I going to do then? I'm going to be left with shit. Okay, then work. That way you're not worried about being left with shit.
Yeah, but okay, it's a double-edged sword, right? So say she said, okay, you know what? I'm gonna drop off these little kids at this daycare.
Okay.
And fuck it. Like they at the daycare,
Okay.
I'm gonna work on a career or whatever.
They go to school and then they'll be at the after school program.
But that's not the ideal situation. I guess as a father at that point, you have to decide if that's what you want to do with your kids.
No, but what you're saying is, you're saying what you would want ideally to happen. Some women actually want to work. Some women actually want their career.
Some do, you're right.
Okay, and they also want a husband, and they also want a family.
True.
So what I'm saying is, I don't have an issue with a woman that wants that as well, as long as she doesn't have those other characteristics that are going to make the relationship impossible.
I don't think if I don't know, regardless of career, if you make 100,000 and she makes 100,000 and you get divorced, I don't think she's gonna be worried about.
She's not.
Right. But then that's the different scenario of how the household is going to be operating, right? So
Okay.
you then at that point have to decide what kind of household you want. But if you choose to say, hey, she got to take care of the crib, she got to take care of the home, she got to know I'm the boss, she got to know I'm the leader of the family. If that's the environment you create, and she's not going to be able to work a full-time job and be full. She's staying home. She's going to take care of the kids. She's going to take care of you. She's going to take care of the house. And she does that, and she has zero opportunity to advance.
So what if
you break up? Whatever. You don't love her no more. You don't want to be with her.
What if you don't have any kids and you're married, and she wants to work?
That's completely different.
Okay.
I think that's a completely different scenario. But we're talking a scenario where, Lila Rose mentioned she had 4 kids.
Yeah.
I think it's a realistic expectation for a spouse, a female, to say, damn, like, I'm all in with our family. I'm going to take care of these kids. I'm going to treat you as the husband. But if something happens, you fall out of love, and you break up. What
if it's just one kid? Does that make a difference?
No, I don't think it makes a difference, because you're still putting the time and effort to raise the child, right? Okay. But there's a realistic understanding of, like, damn, if I'm all in to raise this kid, to build a family, and something happens, yeah, he's good, and then what? I'm just gonna be out on the street.
But again, like we said before, like you say, if something happens, it's very, statistically speaking, men are not the ones that initiate divorce. It's very, very, very low.
But that doesn't mean the men doesn't want to get divorced.
But they don't do it.
Yeah, but
even if you want to do it.
So you're saying,
even if you want to do it, hell, I want to jump out of a plane and land in the water and walk on it. That doesn't mean that you're going to do it and try it and see what happens. My point is, there's a lot of things that you might want to do that you don't do. So it doesn't matter what you want to do. If you don't do it, it doesn't matter.
I don't understand. But what is the
You just said that a lot of men want to get divorced, but most of the time, statistically speaking, they don't do it. They stay with their wife. Women are the ones that want to and do it. That's the difference.
Yeah, I mean,
I want to punch her in the face, but I don't do it. Nothing happens. A person wants to punch in the face and does it, they go to jail. It's a big difference between wanting and doing. The judge is going to say, you wanted to do it. You're going to... He's not going to say that.
But what does that...
It's all about what you do, not what you want to do.
What's the reason? I don't understand. So if people don't want to be together, at the end of the day, what I mean, you just say, "Oh, stay in the house and be miserable."
No, you said
Like,
people. We're talking about one side. So normally you said it only takes one. So when if a guy doesn't want to be with his wife anymore, statistically speaking, they still stick it out.
Why?
Because they don't want to get a divorce. Like they don't want to act out the actual act of getting the divorce.
That makes it better?
I'm not saying it makes it better. I'm just saying what actually happens. Can I state what happens? I'm just stating what typically happens. You don't have to agree with the facts, but the facts are they typically don't initiate the divorce. The women's do. The women are the ones that say, I don't want to be with him anymore. I'm not happy with him anymore. I want to get a divorce. And then what does the guy say? Come on, babe, let's get therapy. Let's go over here and see if we can work this out. That's normally how it works. You know it's true. Come on, man. Normally, the man is the one that says, let's get therapy, because the woman is the one that, I'm tired of you. You this, you're that, you this or that. That's how it happens.
Normally, they get separated. And they're married for 3 or 4 years. And guess what? The guy got a new girlfriend. And she's like, you're still legally married.
Then you don't know.
You're still legally married.
I'm going to pull up the stats right now.
You want to be serious with me.
He's talking about his friends, I think. I'm going to show him a real
clients
stats.
After clients.
Okay, I'm going to give you stats in the United States.
They've been separated for years. And now there's a new woman in the relationship. And guess what? All of a sudden, he's interested in finalizing the divorce. I'll pay the lawyer so we can get divorced. Right? Because the spouse doesn't have the money to pay for the divorce.
70% of divorces are initiated by the wife.
Yeah.
That means only 30%.
No.
That's a huge difference.
The question should be, who ends up paying for those divorces that get initiated?
We're talking about who initiates the divorce.
Yes.
That's what we're talking about.
But a lot of time is the men that say, I find a lawyer, I'll pay for the lawyer so we can get divorced.
Okay.
And so then she walks in and says, I want to get divorced from John. John's going to end up paying for it. But guess what? She initiated the divorce.
Okay.
But John is still paying for it. Like, he's like, no, find a lawyer. Mm-hmm. I'll pay for it. So she initiated the divorce.
Yeah.
Because she now has the funds from the future ex-husband to pay for the lawyer to get divorced.
But that's what I'm saying. It's more incentivized for her to do it than for you to do it. You just said it. He's the one paying for it. That's the point.
Yeah. Okay, you're saying, oh, the only 7 out of 10 divorces, the man doesn't want to divorce his wife, right? Mm-hmm. And it's only the women. But a lot of those scenarios, they're separated for years, and now the guy wants to remarry his new future wife. And guess what, man? Go find a lawyer. I'll pay for it. Go find a lawyer. I'll pay for it. Let's get divorced.
Let me read this right here. Okay, this is according to divorce.com. Okay. It says women initiate divorce more often now than in the past because women now have more job opportunities and higher independent incomes, making getting a divorce less financially risky than it was in the past. Divorces have become easier to get, especially after the legalization of no-fault divorces. So a lot of times they're getting the divorce because it's more beneficial to them than it is to the man. That's the whole point.
No. A lot of time a woman will not. If she knows she's going to be ass out on the street, women on top of women stay in relationships because they are completely financially dependent on the spouse that they've been with for years and they haven't fucking worked 1 hour except taking care of the household.
Right.
So it's a realistic expectation where why legally get married and not legally get married?
Yeah, so
if there's no legal marriage,
so
I
you're
have
saying
no responsibility to you. I could just leave you on the street and I don't give a fuck. I'm gonna make a new family.
Right.
Goodbye.
You're saying that they get married without the government.
Right.
Okay, I got you.
So the woman it's understandable where a woman would say, I want to be legally married and I'm all in. But if something happens and you want to kick my ass out the door, man, I got, what I'm going to do? Start working at McDonald's and you're going to live your great life without me or whatever? Yeah. Like, hey, man, it's a realistic expectation.
Hey, Cotto's part of the dying breed. Ain't a lot of guys like him no more.
I think it's realistic.
He's part of the dying breed. His wife is lucky. I'm going to tell you that right now.
It's a real, look.
Your wife lucky. He's part of the dying breed because they ain't making me and him on the same page. I promise you.
Let me give you a little real quick. We'll wrap it up with a little Cotto story time. So I lived with a girlfriend for a few years, right? And we got engaged. And then I realized, you know what? This is not this is not meant to be. So I break off the engagement. But we lived together. We bought a house together, whatever. I said, look, I'm gonna put you out. You want to move out? Go ahead, move out. I understand. I'm gonna take care of the deposit for the apartment. I'm gonna help you with the furniture. I'm gonna help you this, that, the other. And I paid up. I paid whatever it was to make sure she was good. She wasn't gonna say like, man, that guy's a piece of shit. I spent 5 years with this guy, bought a house together, and you know, I gotta figure out where I'm gonna go live now. No, I went ahead and helped her out. And guess what? She can't say nothing bad about me. Like I did my part, and I gave her 50% of the house. I cut her the check. Boom. We can be friends to this day. If I see her, I have nothing but nice things to say about her. And likewise, I don't think that treatment should be any different for a spouse. If I'm with my spouse, she's not working, whatever, and we're 15 years, we get divorced. Man, I'm not gonna leave her ass out on the street. She definitely is not gonna be at the same level that she is living with me. But at the same time, there has to be a realistic expectation that I'm gonna leave her in a comfortable position.
So she cheats on you, don't love you no more. You find out she cheats on you. I want a divorce. Sure, half of everything, babe. Thanks for cheating on me. It's the same difference. Doesn't matter. Y'all both. She's still initiating the divorce.
If she cheats
it doesn't
on
make
me,
a difference.
Or
she's still initiating the divorce.
But
whether it's her fault or yours,
right? It doesn't matter. But the point is, that's where a prenup protects me. Hey, okay, it's over 50-50. Like, be on your way. It is what it. I'm gonna pay child support anyway.
No, we're not talking about that,
right? So that's not a big deal. But whatever we have, we split it. Whatever. But this whole idea of like
split it with her new man.
Yeah, basically.
She gonna split it with her new man.
Yeah, when the new man's gonna enjoy it. But the whole idea of like, oh, I don't legally. Why the state has to be involved in marriage? Like, come on, really? If you don't get the state involved, you would kick her ass to the curb at your whim and desire, and she'd be ass out with no recourse whatsoever.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that, but I hear what you're saying. They got to. I guess they got to protect themselves the same way.
Yes,
you protect
the same.
yourself.
They get a legal marriage, they got to sign a prenup. That to me is a fair trade. Yeah. Anyway. We agree to disagree. We agree to disagree on this one. Like, subscribe, and like always, please comment below, and we see y'all next week. Peace. If you like this video, subscribe to the channel and click here. If you want to see more videos like this, click here.